some of the very difficult invasion terrain on Taiwan.
这些是中国人民解放军正在so have they already developed?
Yes, they've already developed.
OK， 已经建造的这些我不知道每一个名字是什么。
对，没事，
就是各种各样的。
排雷火箭。
你们都知道是吗？就各种各样的车吧。
The PLA has also invested heavily in lighter weight or medium weight armor, wheeled tanks, wheeled anti-aircraft artillery, and light tanks that are easier to transport to Taiwan.
中国人民解放军也建了这些就是比较中型、比较小型的一些装甲车，还有什么步战车，就各种各样的军用的车。
And of future importance, the PLA is now building a Marine Corps. A Marine Corps that is about the same size as the American Marine Corps.
除了这些军用的装甲车之外，这些比较轻的是比较容易运输。中国还在建一个海军，海军陆战队，然后跟美国其实是相当差不多。
Next slide, please. Thank you. These are just examples of medium weight armor that are being developed for the PLA ground forces.
这些是中型的装甲车，目前中国人民解放军已经建的一些不同的型号。
Next slide, please. In addition, the PLA is also increasing the power of its airborne assault forces.
除此之外，中国也在
Airborne assault forces.
空舰的改进空舰的这些空降空降的这些设备。
This is a first generation airborne infantry fighting vehicle with a 30mm cannon, and this is a second generation airborne infantry fighting vehicle with a 100mm cannon.
所以那个左边的是第一代的，然后是30毫米的什么东西啊？炮。右边是第二代是100毫米的。
The PLA Airborne will also have specialized artillery and anti-aircraft and logistics vehicles. Will have specialized artillery, anti-aircraft, and logistics vehicles.
除此之外还有炮兵、加能炮、防空步战车。
This will make China's airborne corps probably the most powerful mechanized airborne corps in the world.
这些是让中国成为基本上是全世界最强大的空降部队。
In addition, the PLA ground forces are investing heavily in mechanized special operations forces.
除此之外，中国陆军战队也在建非常先进的机械化的特种部队。
These are very light vehicles that can be transported by helicopters and are very useful for capturing important targets like airfields. They're very useful for capturing important targets like airports.
所以刚才的这辆直升机对于就是攻占非常重要的飞机场是用这一辆。
The PLA rocket forces are about to start building a second generation of short-range ballistic missiles.
所以中国的火箭部队正在开始建造第二代的短程弹导弹。
First generation short-range ballistic missiles only carry one missile, but the second generation short-range ballistic missiles can carry up to 8 missiles per launcher.
第一代的话只能带一个短程导弹，如果是短程弹导弹，第二代的话就是一次发射可以有8个。
Right now, the PLA rocket forces only has about 1,200 short-range ballistic missiles pointed at Taiwan. But if the second generation short-range ballistic missiles are built, that number could rise up to almost 10,000.
目前的话，中国军队是大约有1200个
China has 1,200 first-generation short-range ballistic missiles aimed at Taiwan today.
目前中国是有1200个第一代的短程弹导弹是对准台湾的。如果是第二代的话，那个数字将会达到10000个。
But if the first generation missile launchers are replaced with a second generation missile launcher, the number of missiles will increase to almost 10,000.
如果是第二代的话，能够发射的导弹的数量将会增加到9600，就是将近10000。
In addition, China today has almost 1,000 medium-range and intermediate-range ballistic and cruise missiles in the PLA rocket force and in the PLA Air Force. Yeah.
所以目前中国是有将近1000个中程和中远程的弹道导弹。
Now, if we add reload missiles, if the missile units reload their launchers with just one missile, the total number of medium and intermediate range missiles grows to almost 1,800. So if the missile units include a reload, then the number will rise to almost 1,800.
如果再有一次重新发射的话，
发射器可以重新再加一次装一个。
如果再装一次的话，那个数字将会增加到1748。
Next slide, please. Now, in terms of combat aircraft, by 2020, sources in Asia estimate that the PLA could have about 1,500 fourth-generation fighter aircraft, compared to Taiwan, which will only have about 300 to 350 fourth-generation aircraft.
所以到2020年的话，中国的第4代战斗机的数对，战斗机的数量将会达到1560，然后台湾的话只有300到350。
And China's air forces are being greatly improved by precision-guided weapons, new unmanned attack aircraft, and new attack helicopters.
所以中国的空军正在发展的一些设备，包括非常有精准导航的武器，还有第二个就是无人运作的攻击机，还有一个就是
and new attack helicopters.
攻击的一些直升机。
One new H-6K bomber can carry up to 36 precision-guided bombs.
所以
One H-6 bomber can carry up to 36 precision-guided bombs.
精准导弹。
所以这个 H-6K 型号的轰炸机可以携带36个
精确制导炸弹。
精确制导炸弹。
And combat aircraft are also being improved with new 4th generation and 5th generation air-to-air missiles.
所以是 combat aircraft。
它是空对空的导
弹。第4、第5代的战斗机是有非常精准的空对空的。
4th and 5th generation, or 5th generation combat missiles.
第5代的空对空导弹有非常精准的导航。
Next slide, please. All right, now we move briefly into a part 2 to ask the question, what if the Chinese Communist government wins the war over Taiwan?
所以第2部分我要讲的是，如果中国在这场战争获胜的话，会怎么样？
Today and into the foreseeable future, in order to conquer Taiwan, China is also going to have to attack the United States and Japan. Indeed, the People's Liberation Army is preparing to fight the United States and Japan as it attacks Taiwan.
所以目前来说的话，如果中国要攻打台湾的话，它必须同时也要对美国和日本发起攻击。然后目前中国人民解放军也的确在为这样子的战争做准备。
Now, attacking the United States is not a simple decision. As has happened on numerous occasions, an attack unites Americans. It makes them focus very intently on the source of the attack, and we usually don't stop until the attacker is defeated.
所以对美国发起战争并不是一个简单的决定。通常这样子的战争将会团结所有的美国人民，然后美国将会把它一切的资源都集中在要打败入侵者。
So from the beginning, an attack on Taiwan, an attack on the United States will, for the Chinese Communist Party, become a war for its own existence.
所以在一开始的话，对台湾和美国的战争，将会让中国成为
A war for its own survival.
中国的战争是为了自己的存活。
A second consideration would be if the People's Liberation Army actually gets to Taiwan, the Taiwanese are going to fight back. They have been preparing for such an invasion for many decades. Today, it is very popular for young people to join little militia groups. On top of that, Taiwan can call on about 1 million soldiers in reserve forces. So what all this means is that Taiwanese simply won't give up when they're invaded. They could go on fighting for many years.